welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. I am Javon, and I'm back with another one-on-one with Javon. And today we have a very controversial fellow. If you are in the Chelsea space, you know this man as the biggest troll. We've gone back and forth on multiple playback streams. We've gone back and forth on Twitter. So I had to get this one out so we can hear from him. So we can hear from him himself. Robert, go on, brother.
Yes, man. How we do? How we doing? Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to come and chat with you. Everything Chelsea, So
No
it's good. It's good. It's good.
No problem, bro. No problem, bro. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
it's gotta have these conversations out there, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be excited to watch and hear this
Yeah.
one. All right, so let's get into it. You know the first question: why Chelsea? How did you become a lover of the club Chelsea?
Well, I think I got into Chelsea mainly for from Didier Drogba because back home we used to have follow the French league quite a lot. And obviously, we had, I'm from Congo, so we had a Congolese player that was playing for Monaco,
Mm-hmm.
Shabani Nonda, that we were following. And then, you see this other African guy that was doing well in Drogba, starting in Gengar, and then went to Marseille. And then I just became a fan of his. And then, I followed, and then he came to Chelsea and I came along. Mourinho was at the time a big shot manager that I think everybody was captivated by,
Mm-hmm.
and so he went to Chelsea. And my favorite player, Drogba, went to Chelsea, and that's how the Chelsea love affair
Mm-hmm.
started. And I became a fan ever since, man. I've been rocking with the club ever since.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Okay, that's cool. So Drogba kind of brought you towards the club,
yeah.
and
Drogba and Mourinho for sure, for sure.
cool. Now, is it
Yeah.
fair to say Drogba brought you and Mourinho made you stay?
Yeah, Drogba brought me here, and Mourinho kind of made it fun. Kind of made
Okay.
it a lot more worth it because obviously
Mm,
his personality, the
mm.
special one, and all that. Then you just couldn't help but love him,
Y-
and especially his attitude is it's us against the world type of attitude with Chelsea. That was just like, yeah, man, I gotta rock with this guy here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was this at the time where you were in Congolese or in the
Yeah,
US?
I was in Congo at the time. I was in Congo
Okay.
at the time. Yeah. So.
Okay. So at that time, what were the clubs that were running the space in the football scene over there?
Obviously, you had the Spanish, the La Liga. You had the Real Madrid and Barca. You had the Villarreal at the time with Riquelme, one of my absolute
Bala,
favorite player. You have the David Villa
Bala.
with Valencia at the time,
Mhm.
and so you had the Milan with Kaká and stuff. So it was during those times where, like, I would say, like, the pinnacle of football is as far as I've seen it. And so
Mm,
those, and you would watch them. We weren't watching those leagues religiously, like on a weekly basis. It was
mhm,
mostly Champions Leagues, because that's what
mhm,
we were shown. The league that we were being mostly shown back home was the French league.
mhm,
And that, you get more familiarized with the French league, with the Paoletta and the Ronaldinho at the time with PSG and all that. And so the French league was popping, but the Champions League is where you will see all the best players, and
mhm,
every single chance we got to see the Milan versus Real Madrid, to see the Juve versus Real Madrid, like Juve with Zlatan Ibrahimovic going up against Real Madrid and all
mhm.
that. And so that was in my opinion, the pinnacle of football as I've seen it. But yeah, that was mostly French league, but the Champions League was where you were, okay, this is quality, this is
Yeah,
next level.
this is elite level football at that
Yeah,
time. Yeah,
yeah. French league was all right, but
it
this
was
is,
yeah, it
yeah.
was all right. Yeah,
When
it
you
was.
when you watch the Champions League, it was like, yeah, no. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is next level right here.
yeah. I remember watching my first Champions League game on the TV,
Yeah.
and it was Barcelona. I think it was a Barcelona Bayern match.
Mm.
All I know, the spectacle, the presentation around it being Champions League was way different from league football.
Oh yeah.
The pinnacle, the commentary, everything was just more pristine. It's like you the it's like the league games where you're just going down to the shop or you're just going out in regular clothes, and the Champions League game was the full suit and tie, the Cartier
Facts.
watch, you know,
Facts.
the the,
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
the
yeah.
high the high the high expensive colognes and all of
The
that, and then
expensive colognes, yes,
you're ready
yes.
to go. So the
Yeah.
way how it was presented to me at the time was, my father was like, "This is football." I'm like, "Oh, we were watching before. What was that?" you
Oh
know,
yeah, that was just unfriendly. This is the
this is
real
football.
deal right here.
Yeah, and I fell in love with the game as a whole, not just Chelsea, but the game
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
as a whole
Yeah.
ever since. When it comes on to Chelsea, what was the game that kind of, I know you said Mourinho made you stay, but what was the game that made you say, you know what, for life? Because everybody has that one. You know how you can like a club. Because I know you like other clubs,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
there has to be a moment or a game that made you say, you know what, for life,
That the game that made me say for life. Ooh. Um
or a moment. It doesn't have to be a
a
game.
moment. I think it was the Champions League game against Barcelona when we went down to 10 men.
Mm.
And it was and that one, and you saw that Torres running down and scoring that
Mm.
goal, and like even before, like the final just cemented it. But
Yeah.
that game against Barcelona right
Mm.
there, I was like, yeah, man, that's when I started getting into like rivalries. Like, I don't
Mm.
like this club, I don't like this club, I don't like this player for this reason.
Mm.
But before then, I was just like, I like Chelsea, I love Chelsea.
Mm.
But in 2012 is when I was like, no, 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 yeah, this is, I'm gonna invest even more.
Mm.
My risk, my money. I'll buy the jerseys. I'll do
Yep.
everything I possibly can, and so that is when. And then obviously the Drogba scoring in the Champions League final, it was
Mm.
just like a nail in the coffin, and said,
Mm.
yes, I am. Yeah, they're gonna bury me as a Chelsea fan.
Yep. 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 I remember going over that a couple of days ago. I was going over the whole Champions League run. That run was crazy for the
That
2012.
was mad, bro.
Drogba, and something a lot of people didn't realize, Drogba kind of showed up late to the competition. I think it was
Yeah,
later on in the group stage, he kind of
yeah.
came in and started scoring goals, and then we all saw the knock-on effect. What did it for me was actually the final. Actually, the final. You remember after he scored the header and then he gave away the
They
penalty,
give it the
and
pen.
then
Yeah,
he was the one supposed to take that last penalty.
yeah.
What did it for me? This man started crying, but you could see he started crying before he took the penalty. And I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
What are you crying for? The minute
Like
he
he already
scored,
knew.
that was it. All the emotion, everything said, yep, you're a Chelsea fan, can't change, live with it, deal with it, ups and downs. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. That was
So,
yeah, that was it. That was it for me. Yeah. I think when I think was it that game when it was against Barcelona when Ramirez chipped the keeper.
yeah.
Yeah, the chip the keeper, and I was like, oh, that is quality.
that
Like
was
instantly,
quality.
Ramirez became one of my favorite players at the
Mm-hmm.
time in the whole squad.
Mm-hmm.
And then going to Barcelona, being down,
It was that same game. It was the same game.
yeah,
He chipped the keeper
he
when we
chipped the
went down.
keeper. Yeah,
Because remember, we had to score 2 goals. So he chipped the keeper, and then later on in that game, after Terry got himself sent off,
yeah,
stupid tackle.
yeah. No,
You know,
I think
Torres did his thing.
They had to score 2 goals.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. And they actually scored when we went
it
down.
was a draw. It was a
Mm.
1-1 going
Yeah.
up until Torres ran
He
for the
ran the
empty
show at
goal.
that point.
Yeah. But that
We were,
was
and going back, what rewatching it, the defending back then was
oof,
colossal.
bro, man.
Bro, like when you talk about getting stuck in, that's
Yeah,
what getting stuck in was.
facts,
Terry Thorne,
facts. Yeah.
Ashley Cole throwing his body on the line, bro. That was
Man,
different. That was
I'm telling you.
premium football, bro.
I'm telling you, bro. I think I mean, obviously these days we have ball playing center backs and stuff like that, but those, I mean, it was before VAR,
Mm-hmm.
so there's a lot of things we would get away with as a
Mm-hmm.
defender back then that you probably can't today, but that was proper defending, bro. That
Yep.
was proper defending
Mm-hmm.
in those times. But
So,
yeah,
so let me ask you a question before we get into the meat of the matters here.
yeah.
Before we start, talking about some of the things you've said online that somewhat come to fruition and that rattle these fan base. Because we're gonna
Yeah,
go
yeah,
through 'em.
yeah.
We're gonna have to go through them because this is why
Yeah,
people
yeah,
want
yeah.
to watch it. But
Yeah.
let me dial it back so we can get a greater understanding before we proceed. How do you football? How do you view football? Can you kind of tell me and the audience how you envision football? And then I'll ask the second question because I don't want to bombard you with the question.
I mean, how do I view football as a sport or just
Through
from
your eyes. So let me give you an example. I got introduced to football in the heavily introduced to football in the Ronaldo era, Kaka era.
mm,
So football
mm,
for me is
yeah,
magic,
yeah,
making something out of nothing. You have a base support with tactics and whatever, but you let
hmm,
your Mavericks, if you have them, play because they can switch on like that, and then
yeah,
you do in-game management and so on and so
yeah,
forth.
yeah, yeah.
So that
No,
so something like that, you can link it to a player or whatever.
yeah. No, okay. I now I understand your question better. For me, football, there's nothing I value more in football than the correct decision. Like football,
Bro, that's
football.
crazy.
No, it's simple, but football for me, I value players that are smart. I value intellectual
Mm.
players that will out
So
even managers that will outthink
so we're thinking Pirlo, Puyol, Oscar.
the pure,
Them types
exactly.
of high Q players.
Exactly.
Okay, high IQ players.
The
The
Modric these
Modric,
days,
the Modric. Mm-hmm.
Modric, yeah, the
Yeah,
Real Madrid
Modric.
midfielder. Yeah,
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
kind of the play.
Cruz,
Obviously,
them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, obviously you have your Ronaldinho's that were Ronaldinho was smart and skillful.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he
yeah.
would see a pass
Yeah,
before.
those are alien people, bro.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you can't
you
put them
don't
in
you
that
don't see
category.
those. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the R9 skill
Yeah,
and
like
intellectual as well. He will make a run that you get, and him and Zidane are on the same wavelength, and just
yeah.
like they just
You remember when he was running and he did like the step over for the keeper and the keeper went all the way like he was
he
the
didn't even
first one
touch
to
the
do
ball.
exactly that one. He was the first one that did that. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. So, like to me, smart decisions in I rate players that make smart decisions. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care whether you're skillful. I don't care whether, but if when I'm watching you play, I see that you're making smart decisions. To
Mm-hmm.
me, I value what you bring to the table more than somebody who's just pure skills. Like people get on to me because I said I Adeyemi is a far more effective winger than Nico Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I think Adeyemi is more effective because he's just a smarter player. He makes smarter runs. He makes better decisions faster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Nick Williams might be a more skillful player, might be a busier player, a more pleasing on the eye. But to me, he does not make the smart decision. Like he will take
Yeah,
an extra touch when there's no
it's not
need,
needed.
when the pass is right there. And so, he's crossing, like he will cross into, he will see a player make a front post run and he will cross it on the back post. And
Mm.
so, like those little decisions like that, like when it's time to play 1-2, he will take extra touch and try to dribble, and
Mm.
then the move breaks down.
Broke down, yeah.
Um, but in my opinion, Adeyemi will keep it simple, but be effective, and he will
Mm.
score you more goals and get you more assists.
Mm.
Which to me is a sign of a very smart player that you don't need to do much, but
Mm. Yeah, keep the
everything you
basics and then
do.
build out off that.
Everything you do, there's a thought process to it. Like people rate Sancho today. He's not the busiest winger. He's not the fastest. He's not, obviously he's tricky, but you can see that everything that as soon as he touched the ball, he's thinking, what I'm doing, what I'm gonna do next.
Sometimes you could argue he knows what he's gonna do before he gets the ball.
Exactly, and that's exactly know what you're gonna do
Mm.
before you even get the ball. And as soon as you get the ball, try to execute that at the highest level that you possibly can.
Yeah,
And so
you have to do that playing in midfield.
that to me is football. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
It's just smart.
okay,
That's how I look at football.
okay. So he went right for the juggler. I was gonna bring that up later, but he defended his stance on Nico Williams. To be honest,
Yeah,
I here's the thing with Adeyemi.
yeah.
That Champions League final did not do him justice. You have to admit that. It did not do
See, I
him justice.
disagree. I disagree. No, I disagree. Let me tell you why. If you watch the Champions League final, he was the reason why Real Madrid wasn't scoring because Carvajal couldn't leave. Carvajal couldn't attack much because he was scared of his pace and his runs in behind. And so as soon as they took him off, Carvajal started attacking and
Yeah,
crashing the box
but there's
because he knew.
two. Sorry, go ahead.
No, because he knew whoever is back there is not gonna outpace
Hmm.
us. Somebody will catch up to him, whether it's Chouameni or Rudiger. But if you leave Adeyemi open, it's a wrap. He's
Yeah,
gone.
but here's the thing: there's two sides to that game. While I
Mm.
can agree that Adeyemi definitely pinned him back because if there was any space in behind, it's curtains, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
He had multiple opportunities to take advantage of that because even when Real Madrid was pinned back with Carvajal,
Hmm.
Adeyemi could still beat him multiple times.
Yeah,
Adeyemi still got by him, but he didn't make use of those moments or those spaces he found himself into. So that's I remember. We know this fan base. They're not gonna appreciate some of the other nuances to the game. They're gonna appreciate what you do in the final 30 for an attacker, right? So
yeah, yeah.
because he didn't take his chances, he didn't do himself any justice. So I won't be surprised if in the comment section people are wilding out about that. The only thing I'll say is being completely objective here. Um, Nico Williams has gone quiet since the season starts. Since the season starts, we haven't really heard him lighting it up as he
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
was projected to after the Euros final. So
No,
we
I,
leave.
I, I even I even said this before, like when the Euros were going on, and I said I don't know why people rate him that highly. I don't think it's that great of a winger. I don't think if he comes into a top side in the
Mhm.
Prem, I don't think he changes much. Maybe Spurs because probably he's better than Timo Werner. I get it, but Spurs are not effective. Are not more effective with Nico Williams than they are with Son playing on that left wing.
That's not even a debate. We're not gonna. The only thing I will say is he has enough time to develop certain things.
Very true. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Very
So,
true.
regarding that, now I've had to apologize to you regarding regarding our ownership in
Hmm.
terms of the manager appointment of
Hmm.
Maresca.
Hmm.
Firstly, let's dial it back here because I know people.
Yeah.
Please reiterate your views on. First of all, stick up in right there. What were your thoughts on the Roman era? Because I have to get the full understanding on that old Roman era before we can move to the new era.
No, the Roman. I think there's nobody that will debate that Roman is. It's not. It's not. I was gonna say argue, but it's not even an argument. He's the greatest owner, club owner that probably football has ever seen. Like his passion to.
No Perez. God damn.
No, I,
I
I
see
think.
it.
No, I think. I mean, to be honest, Paris runs Real Madrid, and fairly, rightly so. I don't think if Paris became a Chelsea owner in 2024, he achieves as much as Roman did.
Mm,
I think he has the benefit of running Real Madrid. It's like, if he comes in and says, I'm in for a player, you automatically know 80% you got the player. You just need to pay for it. Whereas we have to overpay, or Roman had to overpay for a player and
hold on.
didn't have the name behind it.
Are you saying Real Madrid as an institution is bigger than any owner that could have come in? So the institution is at a level now where if you come in and mess up Real Madrid, you're just that horrible of an owner. Versus if you do something good,
Oh,
it doesn't really move the needle.
yeah. Well, because being running Real Madrid, you automatically comes with benefits
Mm,
because most players dream of playing for Real Madrid. So when you go and tap up in Eden Hazard, at Chelsea, for instance, his dream has always been to play for Real Madrid. So chances are you're gonna turn his head no matter what. You don't even have to sell him much on the project. It's just like
mm.
you're gonna put the Real Madrid shirt on. It's legendary,
That's
and
it.
that's
You get
that's all.
trophies.
Yeah, yeah, and and
Mm,
and and that gives you advantages, on the market that you probably won't have to overpay for players much, and you probably won't have to convince players to join Real Madrid much,
mm.
because it's just Real Madrid. We all grew up watching Real Madrid. If you and I were professional football and Real Madrid came calling, I
In
don't
a
think we
minute,
decline it.
Man, I'll play for £5 just to
That's what
put
I'm
the shirt
saying.
on.
There's a lot of players who play for Real Madrid for free just to
Yep.
say I once play for Real Madrid, and
Mm.
that is the because they're the pinnacle of football, and so just being competent, it just you don't need to be an elite football mind to run Real Madrid. You just need to be competent.
Mm.
You just need
Yeah.
to be competent and not run them into the ground.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
all. Let's not
Okay.
act like Perez is not that mistakes. He's hired Benitez and he's had he's bought Bale and Eden Hazard
Bale was a
and
success.
he's made plenty of mistakes
Bale was
himself.
a success.
But the reputation of Real Madrid can always cap it
Cover up.
because you
Cover
can
up all the.
you can grab a Rudiger for free. You can go and grab a like Chelsea is almost signing Modric, and you come and scoop in and take it because you're Real Madrid. That's the perks that you get, you
Okay.
know, which most clubs don't.
2 points there. One, we're gonna have this Bale discussion because I don't know why you call Bale team. Two,
Yeah.
finish your point about Roman being the best manager,
Yeah, no, no. He was the best owner that I think club football
owner.
has ever seen. And I think from a Chelsea, I don't think there's any Chelsea fan of anybody related to Chelsea that will deny that. And so, however, I think as controversial it might seem, I think it was probably time. I don't think
That's not
I don't
controversial.
think with the age of PSR and FFP, I
He
don't
could
think
get away with some of
Roman
the stuff.
would have been a an effective owner.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that he would have done would have only damaged his legacy
Mm-hmm.
that he had achieved here. Because we look at what I mean, we won the Champions League, granted, but we went and bought Lukaku, and before that we had bought Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, and Ziyech, and all these guys. Um, it wasn't the greatest. We were hit with a transfer ban when nobody in the world was getting hit with transfer bans.
Mm-hmm.
FFP
So
wasn't
you
being
know.
enforced at that time, even that aggressively, or
Mm-hmm.
PSR for that matter. And so I don't think he would have been an effective owner today.
Mm-hmm.
We would still want to keep him because we're nostalgic and we want to keep our greatest ever owner and the greatest owner the sport has ever seen. But I don't think he would have been effective because you just can't nowadays. You just can't throw money at everything. Otherwise, Newcastle would have been better than they are currently because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have
yeah,
they have even richer owners. But you can't
yeah.
just throw money at it like you used to.
Yeah, that I
So
cannot argue with because even if you all just want to look at it at the base level, just look at the signings, look at the squad we were getting. You know,
yeah,
we should have. You could argue we should have gotten Koulibaly long before when he was
exactly,
in his prime. And
exactly.
some I remember feeling, and the comment section can correct me if I'm wrong. But I remember feeling that we would only spend money on one big name signing and just bring in some scrubs to kind of go with it to say, hey, we signed some people like Zappa
Exactly.
Costa. I'm kind of somewhat of a fan of Zappa Costa. I remember that goal he scored.
The
Yeah,
Champions
yeah,
League,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Facts.
he
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't the level we needed at the time, if you
No, no,
remember.
no, no.
Because I think at that time we were supposed to be going for leagues and the Champions League like a double at the time. But the
Yeah,
quality he brought in to add or compete with the main squad wasn't the
yeah.
best.
Isn't that when they bought the Bakayokos
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Zappacosta and the
Yeah,
Danny
yeah, yeah.
Drinkwater and all that? So
Yeah.
yeah,
It
I don't
was
think in this time and age, he would have been a very effective owner. But we
like
love him for what he did for this club.
most definitely. And if you were supposed to come back under different circumstances and seeing how the shift of buying and selling players would be, if he could adapt to that, I would take him in a heartbeat. But you're probably right on that front.
Yeah.
Now, the shift of football before we dive into the new one, and I will not forget that Cruz question. We're going not no, the Bale question. We're gonna deal with that at the end. You're not escaping me on that one. This the shift of football. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
We've had this publicly. I remember you came on All You Can Eat Chelsea and you said something, and I lost it. I'm like, what? But then I had to reflect. The shift of football. What are your thoughts on it before we get into the management hiring? But obviously, there's a shift of football from when we fell in love with the game to now.
Yeah. I mean, from the shift of football is happening in various dimensions of it, if you want to say it. From a coaching standpoint, now it's a matter of The coach sets up everything. There's as we talked about. There's very few mavericks. There's just a person you can give the ball to and say, "Go win me a game." The Ednas, and we lucky we got a Cole Palmer in our hands, and we got a few that come in the Esteval, maybe an Nkunku who can win you a game out of nowhere. Madueke on his day,
Mm-hmm.
he can do that as well. We have a few of those players who can do that, but it's still within a system.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's still within a system, and so you have that switch from a player a player genius to now it's a coach's genius type of
Right.
game. And so we went from looking at the genius of a player out at the end of each game to now looking at how genius the manager out outclassed or out tactic the other manager,
Mm-hmm.
and just put the player in correct time to be in the correct positions to be successful. And so you have that shift, and you also have the shift from a responsibility standpoint where the game now has sporting directors that kind of, like in our case, they kind of set the culture of um of the team. And so you have, for example, in our case, we want to be a more possession based uh, team,
Team.
and so
Mm-hmm.
the sporting directors are going to recruit based on that. And so the players they're going to recruit will be based on that.
Mm-hmm.
The coach they're going to recruit will be to fit in that style.
Yeah.
And the good thing about us is we want that to be a Strasbourg. We want that to be in the women in the Chelsea women's game as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to be a possession based club,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of how you switch it. And which didn't use, like, before it was just the coach comes and say, I need this player and this player and this player to succeed, and the
In
owner will
his
go and buy
system,
it.
yeah.
And now
Mm-hmm.
now the sporting directors are okay. Well, we want to go into this direction, this direction, this direction. We need to buy the players with these ABC characteristics, and we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
get the manager with ABC characteristics to fit the mold of the ABC players that we want to fill the squad with.
Yeah.
And that has been the dynamic of football. And I think the great thing about our owners is the moment they step foot in, or
They
if the
peeped
moment
it.
the point directors step foot in, they understood that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean? But
They peeped
people
it.
obviously they come, oh, they're Americans, because obviously the Americans' reputation in running English football, from Arsenal to Man United to even to a lesser degree
Liverpool.
to Liverpool or Tottenham, they're not very highly regarded as
Mm-hmm.
great owners. And so you get that they understood that from the beginning, and they kind of worked under that presumption. I mean, granted, the first year was not as good, but that was the premise under which they were operating.
Yeah. So a question popped out at me that I must ask. Do you think some of the backlash you get from the bigger content creators when you're in the comment section and you're stating your statements
Yeah,
is because they're latched on to the old mold of football and they haven't made that transition yet?
I think for most of our fans that is the case. I think most of our fans just want to be some want to be the old Chelsea. We sack a manager, we expect the new one to come and win us the league, which is how we've operated for the majority of time. But I think they kind of want that old feeling, that old, like, and I think most of them truly, if you really dip it, it's not that they don't understand where Chelsea's going. It's that they react based on how the rivals are gonna bend to
Are
us.
operated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so they judge everything through the lens of a Liverpool fan or a Man United fan or an Arsenal fan. It's like, we're doing this, but a Liverpool fan will say this, an Arsenal fan will say this, a Man United fan will say this. And not just looking at what we're doing, how good is it for Chelsea?
Mm,
That's what I'm saying. And
mm,
so they not only are they stuck in the old ways to say, I want to win, I want to do this. Everything is short term, and quick reward. So now they not only want that, but they want to keep the bragging right for rivals rather than looking at what's best for Chelsea at the
mm,
time.
mm.
So that's why
Yeah.
that's why I think I get most of the backlash because I'm just like we gotta move on at some point.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the old Chelsea.
Yeah.
Forget that. We gotta look at who we are
Mm-hmm.
based on the competition that we have and how we're performing based on that. In comparison to them.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, we've done exceedingly and above what
Mm-hmm.
our rivals or our competition could have ever imagined,
Mm-hmm.
or even thought of, or even
Most
some of
definitely.
even some cheers, even myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised how. I mean, I've always been positive, but and
Mm-hmm.
overall, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even
I don't.
in my positive self, I didn't see that coming.
Yep. 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 I I don't want to say I expected this, but if anyone wants to kind of understand what I'm trying to say, if you go back to a couple of episodes on how you can eat Chelsea, I could have predicted this if he stuck to his guns. Because you remember when we were on I think Feroze's playback stream, shout out to Feroz by the way, interview coming soon. You remember when I said if this manager comes in and stick to his style of play and implements it, he will get success. It
Mhm.
may take some time, but he will get some success, and we're
Yeah,
starting to see some positive results now. Now, my going back to my question, it was more so because I've watched the Big Six. I've watched all these streams. I've troops, troop back again, BSB, Big Six, DR Sport. I'm watching. I'm a
yeah, yeah,
student of the
yeah,
game,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And you're
yeah.
everywhere.
Same here, same here.
So
Yeah, I
that's
watch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's why I don't want to kind of just tailor it to Chelsea only because you bring up a valid point. Are these content creators are all these other fans stuck in the old mold? Because it wasn't only us doing it, where we would just get the manager and then you go based off what the manager wants. Other clubs are starting to move in this mold. No, where okay, manager first. What's his system? Let's get a player that matches his system. Or do you think other fans are stuck in and those content creators are stuck in that mold? So when you say what you say, they just haven't seen it yet, or
Yeah, I mean, you get some content creators that are stuck in their old ways of a manager wants this, you give him his players. But what they don't realize is pretty much like the Arsenal fan base will say, "Oh, Arteta wants this player," so you give Arteta the fan, that said player, and so that's all well and good. And Arteta has been given time and proven to be successful in that regard. But I won't sit here and say every player that's been successful under Arteta is a player that Arteta personally recruited or wanted to have at the club. Martinelli was there before Arteta. Saka was there before him. Now you can say maybe the Kai Havertz, the Raya, and the Saliba and all this. Yeah, yeah, perhaps. But the overarching point is every other club is moving how we're moving. United just grab the structure like we do have a structure and then say, okay, we're going to dictate the style of play. We're going to get a manager that's going to play that style of play. Liverpool have gotten the same structure. They went and gotten Bournemouth sporting directors. We got Brighton's. They got Bournemouth sporting directors, and
hmm,
they installed them in the hope that say they're gonna establish. Now they got a coach that will suit that style as well. And so most clubs are moving this way. Tottenham are sitting there and trying to say, "Oh no, give Ange his players." But in the summer, Tottenham went and bought a bunch of players, a bunch of young players,
all young players,
all
all young
young
players.
players, and you can't tell me that's Ange. That's who Ange wanted, but it's what the club wants.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and
It's more of a
managers.
club first manager.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
The club instill the style of play and the culture, and the manager comes in and fits in. There's a reason why the old school managers don't fit. The Tuchel, the Conte, the Allegri's,
Yeah, because
and
they're used to that power. They're used to
yeah, they
that power.
used to. I want this player. I get this player. Like Conte went to Napoli and said, "I want Lukaku. I need to get Lukaku." Granted, Napoli gave it to him, but he's not gonna come to Chelsea or
And get
United
that
or
same
or
power.
and do that. No, you're gonna work what's given to you, and in Conte he's gonna throw a fit, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
these old school managers don't fit. Like Pochettino, we got rid of him. Why? Because he wanted certain players that the club was just like, no, brother. No, we don't rate those players the same way. You need to work with the players that we've given you because this is the style of play we want to we want to go with. But you want to get stuck in the style of play that does not suit There's no suit or
The draconian type
our
of play.
motto and our motto. And unfortunately, that's not gonna fly.
Mm-hmm. All right, you heard it from Robert. Like, and here's the thing. I remember how heated I got. I'm like, this man is not what? Just what? Just what? Like like imagine a million Cole Palmers. What? What? But then when I took a step back, because with me I'm open minded because football can be very subjective. And again,
Mm-hmm.
when facts change, opinions change, right? But when I saw Bayern, Chelsea, Juventus. Hey Siri, hey Alexa, stop. Juventus, Genoa, and I'm listing all of these clubs, medium to big to small clubs, giving these newer managers chances. I'm like, you know what? Our manager has to start somewhere. At
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
point in time, we can't want to dictate as fans who you should go and get. We have to put some form of trust in the club, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So that's why. And then when I saw what Merska did, that's why I had to apologize. Now, what are your thoughts on the new ownership? Let's get into that one.
My thought on the new ownership, bro. I'm to be honest with you, they've even exceeded what I thought they were going, or not exceeded, but they've gotten there much faster than I thought. I always thought we are gonna get here, and I said it on the Big Six when I was there. I think in February, I said to Grace, I said in 5 years, Chelsea gonna be in a better position than Liverpool would be, and that was my timeline. I said, probably in 3 years we're gonna compete, and maybe in 4 years we're winning the league and really pushing and challenging for the Champions League and whatnot. And even I look at ourselves in our squad today and said, bro, 2 or 3 additions next season, we are competing for the league.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at our ownership, and let's just say in comparison to other ownerships, Newcastle got taken over in 2021, right? We got
Mm-hmm.
taken over in 2022. Who's further than the other? Newcastle, Newcastle went, got top four once.
Yeah,
Does
got to the
anybody
Champions League and couldn't handle it.
and couldn't withstand it? Okay, people glorified them for that. I looked at them and was like, it's cool for you to get there, but it's not only good to get on top. It's how
Yeah,
you stay
you
on
have to
top.
sustain it. You have to
You
sustain
have
it.
to sustain it. If it's not sustainable, then it's just a fluke at that point. It's no
Mm-hmm.
longer, we got taken over. It's just you got taken over, you got excited, new manager bounce and all these players, and boom, you got top four by default. Now, that is Newcastle's ownership. And if you look at every club that's lost a top figure at the club, Arsenal lost Arsene Wenger. They're just now challenging. After what, 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
United lost
Fergie,
Alex
Fergie.
Ferguson. 10 years later, they haven't looked
About
like
10 years,
challenging
brother.
much. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Man City got taken over and didn't win their first league for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool got taken over by FSG, didn't win anything for I believe 10 years
Third,
either.
they didn't win the league for
We
30 years.
exactly we got taken over 2 years ago. And I don't think it's far fetched that Chelsea fan can sit here and say, I think we can expect ourselves to be challenging for the title next season. Now you
There's
tell
people
me,
calling that title challenge this season, bro.
people are calling it now. I mean, realistically, I don't think so, but people
No.
are calling it now that we can challenge. Or if we got Osimhen, we would have challenged.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Now, when you look at that and say within 2 years, we are looking at ourselves as title challengers. When's the last time under Roman we looked at ourselves and said we're title challengers?
Ooh, I can't argue with that one. We expected it. All right, so let me answer that question. We expected it the season after we won the Champions League, but realistically, looking back at it now in hindsight, I don't think we're ever going to do, put
No, you see,
put up a
I
full
don't think,
challenge
I don't
because
think,
why?
yeah,
Why? No, looking at it now, why I don't think we're going to put up a full challenge. We were heavily reliant on our two fullbacks because at that time no one couldn't tell me Ben Chilwell was world class. At
yeah,
that
no, yeah,
time,
he was a world class fullback, yeah, left wing
you
back.
yeah, left wing back, and at that time Reece James and Ben Chilwell was putting up numbers. We had a defensive structure and we're winning games. But
Mm.
looking back at it now, we didn't have the squad depth to carry us for
Yeah,
that title shot. That
yeah.
was the last time I could say maybe. But before that,
No, no,
it
no.
was
You know,
was the
see, this
Conte
is
season.
see. No, this is different. Now, when going to that season, I don't think any of us expected. We were surprised by how good Tuchel made us look, even with the integration of Lukaku.
Mm,
How well we started. I think City and Liverpool were still favorites going into that
mm,
season. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's not until we saw what we can see from Tuchel they were like, "Oh, we can actually do this."
Mm.
But obviously, you know, the Lukaku thing
Two
happened,
injuries. Two
and the
injuries.
injuries happened, and obviously it was never the same after probably November or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like we obviously this season we've seen what we've done, and some people have been starting saying, "Oh, I think we can challenge for the league this season." But if you ask most Chelsea fans going into
Next
next season,
season, yeah.
who do you expect to challenge for the title? Most people will tell you, "I think Chelsea will be in the mix."
Mm-hmm.
Going into the season, Chelsea will be in the mix. The last time we said that was probably with the time we won the league with
With
Antonio
Conte,
Conte,
yeah.
that
Because
we're
at
gonna
that
win
time,
the league.
Conte came off a league win too, didn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And to make my point, these honors have come in, and within 2 years, they've made you and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
because we've seen the squad that they've assembled. We've seen the manager that they've hired. Granted, they've had to kiss a lot of frogs to get to Moresca, but
Yeah.
we've gotten here. We've gotten here regardless. But to have a squad as deep and as talented as we have, and
Mm-hmm.
to look at our squad and say, I really, a couple of additions here, I really don't think there's anybody stronger than us. I think you can give it Man City just because they've been together longer and Pep has been there for 9, 10 years. But you can look around the landscape
Mm-hmm.
of the Prem now and you said, is there really anybody I can sit here and say they're definitively better than us going to next season? I don't think I can say that.
Okay. Okay. That's understandable. And a few of the people that I've spoken to feel exactly the same way. So let me ask you this. What are those additions that you think could take us to a title charge next year? Those additions you would add? Because I've heard goalkeeper, centre back, and maybe a more defensive minded midfielder.
I think if we got solid centre back partnership, I think we're there. Our problem isn't it will never be scoring goals.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we have a nine, whether we have Jackson, because the goal's gonna be spread. Whether it's this game is Nani, next game is Neto, this game is Cole Palmer scoring four, next game against West Ham is Jackson, scoring two. Next game is Nkunku winning you a game at the last. I don't think a problem will ever be scoring goals. A problem will always be preventing goals from going in. And I think that is the problem. Our centre back pairing is where
Mm-hmm.
my
Problem is.
worry is
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think Fofana pre-injury maybe you can say he was kind of an elite. I don't think there's any situation that we go that our defense can face and say, and I can sit there and say I feel 100% confident that they're gonna stop this. Like when we have Thiago Silva and Rudiger,
Mm-hmm. We
and
were
every time we
chilling,
get
bro. And
attacked,
even
I'll just sit there and
Christensen.
be,
For
yeah,
me,
just
even
sit, yeah, and
Christensen.
even Christensen, I'll just sit there and be like, hmm,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be lucky to get a shot on goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't think that like if a pacey attacker is coming to Colwell, I'm just seeing praying that Levi stops it.
Mm-hmm.
And same with Fofana. I don't think his recovery is he's gone back to the recovery pace that he had.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't think maybe Bartosen they are that strong aerially.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of is the sticking point because I don't think our center back pairing from a defensive standpoint
Mm-hmm.
that they give me confidence. Like
Yeah,
if they come
I know
against,
it's never going forward because these
yeah,
the one
going
can
forward,
carry,
yeah,
one can pass.
going forward, Levi can pass. I'm not confident in Fofana's ability. Tossing, yes. Going forward, that's what I said. Scoring goals will never be a problem. From
Okay.
a goalkeeper, I rate his ball playing ability more than most. From our fullback, our center backs, midfield, attacker, everybody is technically sound on the ball. It's off the ball that where I think our midfielders can get away with it. I think they're strong enough, just strong enough. I think even with the addition of Santos next
Mm.
summer if he comes, if we have a strong centre back pairing where they can dominate, like if Levi comes up against Haaland, it's
Mm.
like who's gonna win that fight? Like I want a
So let
centre
me.
back that I can
So
sit
so
back and
that's
say,
that's where I was gonna go. What is your problem with Levi Cole? Because I've seen you go back and forth with Batiste, Alex. What did Levi do to you, bro? Why do you
no,
hate
I
this
don't.
man?
I don't have. See, people think I have an agenda against Liverpool. I do not.
Mm.
I actually rate him. I actually think he's the best ball playing centre back in the Premier League. If that's me having a problem with him, I don't know. I don't know what his problem. The problem is, I think people put him on a pedestal that he does not belong in yet.
Mm.
People are now comparing him to Saliba and Van Dijk. And every time I see, oh, that was Thiago Silva type of performance. Oh, that was John Terry as type of block. It's like you're putting him into these names that, to be honest with you, it does not belong there. Can
Mm.
he get there? Yes, perhaps. But let's wait. Maybe people rate him high. I just don't rate him high enough for me as a center back, mostly
Mm.
for his defensive ability. Now, if you have to cheer and go on about a center back making a block for more than a week, then that to me proves to you that even you don't think he's good enough. Because you have
Oh, yeah, to
you
prove
if
me
you have
wrong.
to brag about a center back making a block for a week, then that means because nobody will sit here and be like, "Oh, did you see that block from Thiago Silva? Did you see that block from Rudiger?"
Yeah,
Because you expect it.
regular
It's
thing,
regular,
brother.
bro. It's
Mm.
but if when Levi makes a block, bro, my entire timeline is filled with blocks from this. Did you see that block? That was John Terry. Yes, that was Thiago Silva esque. And I'm like, guys, let's pause the brakes. Let's
Mm.
pump the
From the
brakes for a little
bricks.
bit. We are- we
Why do
we
you
are
hate
doing we
Fafana?
are doing him a disservice by putting him into the bracket with the greats.
Mm.
And we're gonna and this fan base is gonna start expecting him to put in to put to put in place Thiago Silva level performance. Is
Mm.
Levi Colwill today able to
No,
put
no,
in
no,
a
no, no, no.
Thiago Silva level
I've seen
performance?
it. I've seen it, bro. They build him up,
I
and
don't think so.
when they don't meet their expectation, it's
But
curtain.
that's exactly my point. That's we're doing them a disservice by putting them on the pedestal that they don't belong in yet. Can he get there? Yes, maybe he can get there. But once he gets there, then let's give him the praise. But let's not say he's elite and start seeing graphs that he's outperforming Saliba, seeing graphs that he's far better than Gabriel at Arsenal, that he's in the same league as Virgil van Dijk. I saw somebody, somebody like and Alex Schum says is the top five centre backs in Europe. And I'm like, brother, let's relax a little bit. Because if you're telling me he's the top five centre back in Europe, then he should be able to manhandle Haaland the same way a Rudiger can, the same way a Saliba can.
Mm.
But if you cannot handle a Haaland and you're not fast, and like if I have to praise a centre back for making a block, then he's not that good of a centre back yet.
Okay, guys, we're gonna go through these list of players that we've gone back and forth with. That graphic, by the way, I responded on that graphic. That graphic said to me that how I interpret it. If you're putting up numbers similar to this, that means you have the ability to get to the next level. That's what I was praising. I don't know. Maybe we have two different timelines, or maybe we view football a bit different in
No,
that
but
regard.
you see, I think people sometimes they do it maybe consciously or subconsciously because when somebody sees that and say, "Oh, Levi and Saliba, he must be just as good.
Mm.
Levi and Gabriel, he must be better than Gabriel." Because looks, he trumps him in this category, this category, this category, this category. Out of 5 category, he kills him in 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabriel just edges him slightly in area ability. Now, when somebody looks at that Levi Colwill edges Gabriel in 4 out of 5 categories, what conclusions are they supposed to conclude
You
to
take
come
it
to
what
with
you
that?
will. I'm not gonna
But
get into
my point
that.
exactly. My point
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And I've always said Levi is a fantastic graph and stat player. You know those stat players. You know Ruben Loftus Cheek.
Mm-hmm.
Every game, he will lead the team in carries, successful dribbles. entries in the final third, interception and aerial duel or do one. But you kind of look at the game like, he was okay. But statistically, you look at the graph, bro, he was, he was in 8 or 9 out of 10. But from a stats perspective, it looks good. But when you watch the game, it's like, you know, he didn't affect the game as much. But he would
That
have
is
the
a point.
carries and the dribbles and the
That is a
this and
point.
that.
But
Yeah,
to me, those underlying metrics lead to something better. There's something there to show that you can get to the next level, to show that you can be a solid or a good footballer. So to me, that's very important, especially in different
yes,
position, depending on the position you play. But
no,
I hear what you're saying.
yeah, I fully agree. Those graphs, suggest something,
Mhm.
but that something is in there. We haven't seen it yet. But let's pump the
Consistently.
brakes and
Mhm.
let until Levi gets to that point, then heap the praise onto him. For
Okay.
now, he's still just a good center back.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Because I remember I was on a stream with Lewis, and I think I put him in good, not very good yet. So fair enough.
Yeah,
What's up with
yeah.
Robert Sanchez? Because half of these people, 90% of our fan base wants him gone. A very
Mm-hmm.
few, like myself, has seen improvement and could
Mm-hmm.
arguably he's been one of our better players, barring that Brighton game.
Brighton,
Well,
yeah.
because you've been defending Robert Sanchez ever since Maresca stepped to the door and said he's our number one
No,
goalkeeper.
if you remember, we did a playback stream when Moresca got hired
Feroz and the
with
boys,
Matisse. I
Benji,
think it
big
was
up
either Matisse
yourself.
or Feroz. And I said, I'm worried for Petrovic. I don't think Petrovic will be number one. And everybody was like, "Oh no, that's absolutely. If Moreta comes and picks Petrovic as number or Sanchez back as number one, then he must
I
not be."
remember.
And I said, "Brother, he's far better on ball than Petrovic is. He's a far better sweeper keeper than Petrovic is, and he's just every for the amount of time I had to see Thiago Silva yell at Petrovic like, come out to be in a better position." And I from that moment I said Petrovic probably I didn't think he was gonna get, so I thought he was gonna be our number two, but Moresca didn't even think he was good enough to be a number two.
Yeah.
And so Robert Sanchez, I think, like you said, the core will and stuff from a stat standpoint, they look good. Sanchez is one of those for me that he has the attributes to be an elite goalkeeper,
Mhm.
but he has the occasional brain farts. You see what I'm saying?
Bozo Gene, call it
Yes,
like you see it.
yes,
Bozo
okay.
Gene.
Both of genes, I'll give you that. But he is what 6'6", 6'7", very athletic, very agile. I think he's good on the ball.
He gets
He's
to the
he's
floor quickly.
he's
That's a
he's short
metric too.
stopping. People were telling me it was horrible last season. So this guy short stopping is very, very good. Is and very underrated. He's a very athletic goalkeeper, and to get those attributes in a 6'6" goalkeeper, you don't see that very often. They're either very good at short stopping, and that's it, or they're just very like you get the Nick Pope, for
Mm.
instance. Like he's not as agile. He's not like he's not as mobile as a Sanchez. Sanchez is mobile, athletic, can leap, can cover, can it makes the goal look small.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And I rate that in a goalkeeper. Now the Bozo gene, as you said, yes, but in his defense, in his defense of the Bozo gene, I will ask you, which goalkeeper in the Prem does not have a Bozo gene?
Ha. That's a good question. Let me
Or
scan through my
maybe I'll
goalkeepers here.
say Allison, even though I've seen some
No
Bozo
man, no
moment
man,
from
we can't.
Allison.
No, I've seen Allison get run dwell on
Exactly.
the ball too long, and they get down on him. Can't say Edison. Maybe Martinez.
No,
Maybe
no, no, he does. The last season, there was about 3 goals they conceded based of his mistakes.
David Raya.
Did you watch last season? The
Yeah, the
Champions
start
League?
of yeah. You're right. You're right. The start of
Uh,
last season.
but
Ah,
see that's my point. When we look at him, we want to compare him to Diogo Costa. I want to compare him to Thibaut Courtois. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so. That's the level of goalkeeper that we need at Chelsea Football Club.
Mhm.
I get that. But my point has always been, for a top four team, he's a competent, goalkeeper to go achieve top four. Now, once we want to go and challenge for the league, if we still have disposal moments, then I get why we should replace him.
Mhm.
But to say he's not even good enough to be a top four is
It's a
just
stretch.
it's a stretch, because there's no goalkeeper you're gonna give me in the Prem that does not have a Bozo gene. Last season, he committed one mistake that led to a goal, and that was the Arsenal goal.
Mhm.
Martinez had 3. Raya had a few. Ederson has had a few, giving away penalty for
Mhm.
Bozo jeans. Alisson, you say yourself, you've seen him do a couple things that were not called for, even though maybe his defense has bailed him out or not. Every single player, every single goalkeeper in the Prem, bar maybe one, maximum 2, has the Bozo gene and has committed an error that's led to the goal. Now, why do we judge Robert Sanchez is such a high level, a higher level or higher curb
Because
than Arsenal
we've
fans
had
judge
some of the
Raya?
best goalkeepers to play in this sport.
What's that?
Because we've had some of the best goalkeepers to play in this sport. Peter
Again,
Cech,
again,
Courtois,
that goes back to
and
the point where you stuck in the
another thing,
past.
we haven't really had a ball playing goalkeeper at this club.
No, we've never had one.
So maybe it could be teethering. You'll never know.
But
Maybe it's teethering.
that's my point. People are stuck in the past saying, I want a check level or a Courtois level. Brother, there's no check level or Courtois level goalkeeper in world football today. And if they are, their club is not trying to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, uh, Liverpool is not trying to get rid of Ederson to come to Chelsea. Um, uh, Courtois is not trying to leave Real Madrid. Donnarumma has fallen off.
No. Don't call them man name yet. No, you
Diogo
nope.
Costa sometimes is good, sometimes is not so good. And so, which Czech or Courtois level goalkeeper are there in world football today that you can go and say, I can get this keeper and I'm confident that I'm going to win the league with them? Name me one that's available that you can possibly get.
Comment section right now. Comment section right now.
Yeah,
All right.
I want to hear them in the comment section. Name me those goalkeepers that you are confident that they can come in and will not have a single Bozo gene and will be here to help us win the league.
Boy, Robert, we gotta move on from this because I still have 2 people to ask you about. We're probably gonna have to do a live. We're probably gonna have to do a live or something. Me, I want to get this is where it kicks. I've still gotta go through. First of all, 2
Yes,
things before we move on to sporting directors.
yes,
Nodi Madueke versus Mudrik. Fight we
yes.
are fight today. Why do you hate Madueke? Why?
I do not hate
No,
Madueke for the
no, no, no,
slightest.
no, no,
No,
no.
no, no. See,
If I
listen.
had the boys here from these playback streams, they would be here to validate what I'm saying. We went back
No,
and forth on this Madueke thing.
you see, I'm objective about players. Do I think Mudrik is good enough? No. The only thing about Mudrik is I don't like. I think the slander on Mudrik goes way too far, and
Not
that's
as
why I
much as
defend him.
Madueke.
Huh?
Not as much as
I think the slander on him goes too far, and that's why I defend him. People say sell him. I don't want him out of my club. Get Tariq George to take his minutes and all this stuff. Now, those slanders, I consider them to be out of bounds. If you don't rate him, fine. He has a bad game, critique his bad game. That when he has a bad touch and you on your Twitter, what kind of touch was that, Mudrik? It's like, brother, slow down a little bit. From Noni Madueke. Noni as the player, very skillful wingers. Very skillful winger. We don't have many of those that are like 1v1 absolute killers
in the
in the
game.
game.
Not
We
just the
don't
club,
have
the
them.
game.
I don't think there's any. Is there any in the prime? Maybe Luis Diaz. Maybe
Kudos, maybe you could argue kudos
Kudos.
definitely,
Yeah,
kudos
yeah.
definitely.
So those 1v1.
Savinho,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll read my way over Savino. That's just my opinion.
thank you, sir.
But
Doku,
Doku, yes,
yeah.
1v1 absolute killers
Mm-hmm.
that they're going at you every single time. Now, I rate that about Madueke. Okay, my point is, and I'm not against him shooting. As a winger, you come in there, the goal is open, brother, shoot every single time. My point with him is, even if everybody acknowledge that Madueke will shoot 100% of the time, like you said, your winger, you don't as an attacker, you want him to shoot all the time. My point is, it is the effect, is the trickling effect to the other attackers. When I'm watching the game and Madueke has the ball, I don't see Jackson making the darting runs because he's expecting a pass. I don't see Enzo making the darting runs, or even Cole Palmer or Sancho making the darting runs to be an opening option because they don't expect a pass. Last game, I think you saw when Madueke went past a player and he cut it back, and there was Enzo and Palmer there.
Yeah, they were getting kind of
No,
almost
no,
in
no.
each
They
other's
see, they
pass.
were just standing. You know when if you're expecting a
Oh yeah, I
pass,
remember the
your
play. Yeah,
body,
yeah.
your body position is different
Mm.
because you're expecting a pass and say if it comes into any of this
Yeah, I remember,
vicinity,
and I was
I,
saying they should have been making that run. Yeah, I remember it.
but that's my point exactly because it's Noni. They don't the likelihood of him passing you that ball is low. So the player just make the runs, they're in the box. Just as if the keeper spills it out, we're here for the rebound. I
Hmm.
think that's what more they expect. That if we go and he shoots, if the keeper rebounds it our way, then we'll pounce.
Yeah,
But
but
I don't think most of them go in any like watch when Sancho has the ball. Watch how much people move or how much people how much movement in
mm,
the runs they make, like Cole Palmer runs, Jackson runs when
mm,
Sancho has the ball, or
mm.
even when Cole Palmer has the ball. You see the Noni making runs.
Yeah,
Jackson make
because
runs.
because the aura of okay, while Cole Palmer's a killer, I know there's also a 50% chance he might just put it on a plate for me.
Yeah,
I get that.
if I
I
make
get
that
that.
run there,
Mm.
I'll be in a better position than him, and he will pass me the ball.
So
The thing with
you
Noni is
see,
they don't expect that.
See, with you saying that and explaining that point, I'm perfectly fine with, and I would concede that point, even though I think you should still make the run, because sometimes making that dummy run, I'm not saying you have to make it all the time if you're never going to get the pass, but you as a coach know, sometimes when you make that dummy run, it still opens up a gap for him to say, okay, I have no choice but to pass it now, because that dummy run left a huge gap where I can lay the pass into.
Oh yeah, no, they will still make the run, but
Mm.
it won't be, like
That hard run.
there
I
is
know
a
what you
run
mean.
and there
Yeah.
is a hard run that I am
Mm,
making this one because I want to get into that space right there.
mm,
Because if I get into that space, none will
mm.
pass me the ball.
Yeah,
It's
I
that
can.
if even if I get into that space, he won't come.
Yeah,
So why should I burst my lung? Because then if the keeper spills it and I gotta chase back
yeah, it's
and
gonna. Yeah,
go
yeah, yeah. Because when it spills,
and
it's
I,
gonna
and I
go.
have to
Yeah,
press
yeah, yeah,
again. So
yeah,
that I rather preserve my energy and I'll make the run, but it won't
yeah.
be as hard as if I was expecting a
You
pass.
see, I can accept you saying that, and that's something he needs to improve upon. What I'm seeing on my timeline is he's selfish. Get this black N-word out the club. Get
You know
get
that.
get this man out the club. When Esteval comes, he's going to be gone. When let Neto play games because none he's not good enough. I'm like, bro, hold on. This man is almost had his goal tally for the entirety of last season. It's only been 7 games. This man is
Mm.
putting in a shift defensively. This man is beating 1v1. You still complain about the type of winger he is, as in that we don't have that on both wings, but we don't have that in the sport, yet still he's right there in front of you. The hate is, I'm seeing us dominate West Ham 3-0, and people are complaining because Madueke took a shot. Bro, that's the level of hate I'm seeing. And I've said this to you before. When it comes down to the Mudryk thing, I think it's more disappointment from what I'm seeing for people with Mudryk, and versus the hate that I see that Nani gets. So it's one of those things that I think it's gonna be an ongoing battle until maybe Madueke solidifies in spot. And you know what I mean by solidify? Not the manager saying you're my number one, but solidify that in performances where you can't debate that he should start. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna be an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be an ongoing debate, and hopefully it's up to Noni to improve on that position
Mm,
and to get his teammates to trust that he's gonna pass. And
mm.
if your shot, he's a 10% short of getting scored, and somebody is in a better position to get a 60%
Shot, yeah.
chance shot, then just make the pass rather than taking a 10% shot.
Mm,
Give the person that has a 60% chance of scoring
mm.
to score. You
And
get
if they
GAs
mess up, then you
regardless.
can get on them.
Yeah, if they mess up, like if that's how I play. If I give you the ball once, twice, you keep on messing up, then I'm not gonna give you the next time.
Mhm.
But
And
again,
no one can complain. So
and
yeah.
no one can complain because I've given to you 5 times and you keep on missing. I'll take the responsibility myself and see if I can do better than you.
Mhm.
But if every time you get past the man and the defense, which you if you get past one, another defender has to react. And if a defender reacts, that leaves an open space. And if a player goes into the open space, none is not gonna pass that ball. He's gonna try and get past the second defender to try and look for a shot, which is absolutely fine by me. But the
Because he
problem
can do
is
that.
yeah, we can do that. The problem is that when you have that option to pass, people are like Enzo and Palmer were just standing there. They weren't because they weren't like if you were waiting for the pass, like Enzo body position would have shifted and say as soon as he passes to me, I'm shooting it. But he was just like this, it's
Yeah,
like just
yeah, yeah. I
standing.
hear what you said. I hear
Yeah,
what you
and
said.
so the pass didn't amount to nothing because you have to control it and get another touch, and by that time the defense is on to you, and that's a wrap. But that's the effect he has on other player. That's the thing that
Yeah,
that kind of
that's more so your problem. Okay, I
that
understand
kind
now.
of that kind of my problem. Not
Yeah,
because he get past player and it's just that you know
yeah,
your
yeah,
other players not gonna trust. Why are they not gonna burst my run? Because if you shoot and the keeper holds it and do a counter attack, now I gotta go back and bust my line again
yeah, yeah,
and try
yeah,
and
yeah,
get back
yeah,
into
yeah. So
position
it
and
wastes
press.
energy. It wastes
Yeah, it's
energy.
wasted energy from that
Mm.
standpoint.
Yeah. Last topic before we get on. You're not getting around with that bail thing. I promise you. The last topic before we go to the bail thing and we wrap up here.
Yeah,
Sporting directors. There has
yes,
been a split in regards to the fan base for sporting directors. I
yes,
had to double back, and I said this on the breakdown stream. You gotta check that out. The breakdown stream with me, Tobes, Alex, Matisse, and Dan. That is a crazy one. But yeah,
yeah.
the question was asked, what would you rate the sporting directors? And I said, I'm gonna be honest, scouting wise, I give them a 10, but negotiating wise and everything else, I gotta give them a 4. What
Mm.
are your thoughts on the sporting directors on a whole?
Now, as a sporting director on the whole, I think the comment section might kill me for this. We have the best sporting directors in the Premier League. No
Father
question asked.
God.
If you say whose team sporting director would you take over ours?
Hold on, no, hold on. Wait, hold on, hold on.
Say what?
Wait, I got you all of them now. Hold on. What? What?
I didn't start it, bro. I said what I said.
Say it again for the people in the back.
We, Chelsea Football Club, has the best sporting directors in the Premier League. It ain't even close.
Carry on. Let me let you land.
And so the moment I was taken by these sporting directors is when the first right good decision that got me on board with them is when they pulled away the Mason Mount
Mm.
contract. Because I've never really messed him up. I always thought he was an average player, and he didn't warrant 200 or 250K a week.
I
You can
think he didn't warrant that money, but I think I just for some reason I believe there was something in him that we could get out of him to get
not
more.
200K, not 200K
No,
a
not
week.
not money. I'm talking.
Yes,
I would give him 160 max, but I'm saying talent wise, I think there was something there. Like he was a
yeah.
workhorse. He could pass the ball. He could score. So I think yeah. But
You see,
let me
the
let you
sporting
finish.
directors, it's like I can't give you 160K a week when I can go get Santos, who's far better, for a fraction for 30K a week on a 9-year contract. That's what I'm saying. It does not make any sense. And so from that standpoint, I was like, you know what? For the first time, Chelsea has made a decision that was not emotional. And I rate that.
Like that too.
And then come into the summer, I think Kai Havertz had 2 years left on his deal. And they said, you either renew a contract or we have to sell you. And Kai Havertz says, well, I'm not gonna renew the contract, and he got sold to Arsenal for
Mm.
65 million. Now, from that moment on, I said, well, the last many years under Roman, we were buying like Lukaku was such an emotional buy. Oh, he's African.
Yeah.
DJ Drogba,
We
this
could
and
have
that.
gone and get something,
We
get a
could
better striker.
we could have gone. We could have gotten a far better striker than him, but it was an emotional buy, and that's why I did not rate. So as soon as I saw that, I said these men are here for business, and they want to make business the decision that makes business sense and makes footballing sense, because it does not make footballing sense to give Messi man 250 grand a week. It does not make business sense. It does not make footballing sense, and have him on a 6-year contract. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, and so everything they've done ever since, I've rated. And so people might say, "Oh no, but we went and bought Mudrik and this and that." They went and bought Mudrik for what 60 million. 60 million. That same window, we bought Enzo Fernandez.
Noni Madueke, we
None of my
got
work, I think Badia Sheila also in that
Badia
in
Shield.
that same window.
Mm-hmm.
And then the window after, we bought Caicedo. And
Yeah,
for the fun of it, we went and got Lavia on
yeah.
top of it. And I think those 4 deals cemented Chelsea as a strong force in the transfer market.
Mm.
We've always been strong. But from that point on, I think every club knew if Chelsea comes in for a player that you're in for, get nervous.
I hear Matisse screaming in the back of my head for some reason. How do you explain the lump sum of signings? Oh, the stockpiling of young players, the flipping of players. How do you defend that? Because essentially, for some of these careers, and he's screaming again. Washington, he's screaming.
That's a Fofana.
That's Fofana, the Gabriels. How
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
explain those? How do you
Yeah.
defend those to make sure that just if you're
No,
calling them excellent?
those again, we're gonna look for players that are gonna be mainstay Chelsea. And we're gonna look for players that are gonna be good business. Angelo Gabriel was a good business purchase. We bought him for I don't know 12 million, sold him for the 20, 21, 22. We doubled the money and said we ruined his career. Bro, we gave this kid a chance to go play with Ronaldo. Before Chelsea, did you know Angelo Gabriel?
We did, bro. We did not know we were going to sell him to Saudi to go play with
Do
Ronaldo. You
you do
can't be
you
doing.
think Al Nasser would have bought him if he wasn't a Chelsea player?
I want to say no. I want to say no
Exactly. So how did we ruin his career by giving him the
because we
exposure
didn't
that
give him a development
make
stage. We didn't
he
give him
can
the.
go and make stupid money at Al Nassr? Not you see, not every player is in football to be the best ever to leave a legacy. Some players are in football to make money, especially those who come from humble beginnings. Angelo Gabriel want to make as much money as he possibly can in football. Saudi came and he's 20, he decided to go to make money. Some people are in football to be rich. Not everybody's in football to be a Cole Palmer or a Ronaldinho or an Eden Hazard. No. Some people are in football to be rich. Oscar at Chelsea was in
My bad,
football
bro,
to
bro.
get rich. Not everybody
Wait, he
want
could have been
some messy
both,
legacy.
though. He could have been both.
Bro, but it's not about that. It's what motivates you. Some people, because they will grow up poor, they want to make as much money as possible to set the family up for life.
Mhm.
And that's fine. Angelo Gabriel is one of those. Do you think if Al Nassr had come for Andre Santos, he would have gone?
I can't answer that. I don't know if
I
they're
don't
gonna
I
sell
don't
him.
think I don't I don't
I
think
hope not, but I don't think that. I don't know if they would sell him because we're
I
yet
don't
to
think he
see.
would well, first of all, we would have sold him, but I don't think he would have gone. Because if you hear Andre Santos speak, he wants to be one of the best players, one of the best midfielders
Yeah,
in
but
world football.
it's still yet to see what happens if another club come in for one of our quote unquote mainstay players and one of our top players. Are we going to sell? What's going to happen? It's still
No,
yet to
but
see.
yes, if another club comes in and it's a player that we rate, they came in for Levi Colwill. We said no, right? Clubs came in for Levi Colwill. We said no. They came in for Cassidy. Loan offer. We said no. They came in for Mudrik. We said no. You
They
see what I'm
came in for
saying?
Noni. We said no.
Exactly. So we can twist it however we want. That or we can. Yeah, some
Yeah, but
player.
how strong were those interests? I'm talking about the bid that comes in. It's a strong interest. Here's the money on the table. We want this player now.
The,
It's
the,
still
the
yet to be
sporting
seen.
directors in the interview with Matt Law this morning just said we were offered significant money for one of our academy players, which you deduct is probably Levi Colwell. And we said no. Now, if they were the pure profit, that picture that everybody's been paying them to be, that they're only here to make money and pure profit, Levi Colwell would have been sold. Because they said they got offered a lot of money for an academy players and they decided not to sell one.
Mm-hmm. All right.
That's just it. So I've read what they've done, and if you look at our squad now, you can't tell me that they haven't done a good job, because you can if you sit there and rate the squad, then you have to rate the people that put the squad together. You can't say I rate the squad, but I don't rate the people that put the squad together.
I think more so my issue is I still feel uneasy with them signing all of these young players and not having a clear development path. And when I say clear development path is you would relate to us as content creators and as fans to say, okay, we're signing him to go to the youth team. You see that ambiguous where is he going to play type of thing? It's somewhat real to some extent because even Kellyman, it wasn't. It's not like they come out and say, "Oh, we signed Kellyman for 20 million. We're going to put him in a youth academy," which I think he is right now, and then develop him to go into the first team.
So this is the problem with, I think, with us as Chelsea fans. We want people to tell us everything. We want to be told. We want to everything to be clear, to be made. We want to be made aware of every plan, everywhere, every time. We want to be made aware of the stadium plan. We want to be made aware of Amari Kellerman plan. We want to be made aware of Kendrick Pius plans. We want to be made aware of Cole Palmer plans. We want to be made aware of every plan. Which club makes the fans aware of every plan they have? They buy players, and those players get developed according to how the club sees fit. Now it's only until afterward then you can judge and say the development of this player has not been as good as it possibly could have been. Now you can sit there and say Andrew Santos has not been developed properly. He's playing week in and week out in Europe top 5 leagues.
Man's balling. He scored so much
The
goals.
man is balling. Ogochukwu is on loan
Balling
to Southampton and is playing well. Now, you can't sit here and tell me that, but you should have told me that you're gonna send Andrew Santos to Strasbourg for 2 years. Why? Who else does this in world football? Do you think when Real Madrid bought Guller, they sent in the press release and say this is our plan for Guller?
See
No.
what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
But why do we sit here and say you need to tell me, what you're gonna do with the stadium, what you're gonna do with Omari Kellerman? You bringing in Anselmino? What's the plan with Anselmino?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Listen, if for some reason not everybody, his new ownership doesn't sit with the fan base, and I think we covered some of the reasons. Even I remember even in preseason when we had to pay for it, you were on this run. Oh, we should buy the best players, but no one wants to help pay for us to get the best players to pay for it, bro.
Every club offered that stream, but for some reason Chelsea fans, we don't want to pay for
I'm
that.
telling you, this ownership has some of these fans in a chokehold. Like any wrong move, they're on them. Any wrong move. Right now, my personal feelings towards the ownership. Let's see how this season goes. You're just on watch. You're not on fraud watch. You're not on good watch. You're just I'm watching. I'm listening. And at the end of the season, we have a conversation.
I'm enjoying. That's what I'm doing. I am enjoying. I'm enjoying the receipts that because when I was calling this,
you're being vindicated, bro.
When I'm coming back and say I've told you for 12 months we have elite recruitment. And you people telling me, oh no, this
Robert,
and that.
pull it up with receipts, bro. Robert, come with receipts.
I'm pulling up all the receipts, and I'm just enjoying the football. I'm enjoying Maresca. I'm enjoying everybody fawning over Maresca when initially they were saying, "Oh, how could you sack a Premier League experienced manager for a Championship manager?" So, bro, just enjoy. I'm just enjoying football. I'm just enjoying. This is the first year in the last couple of years where I said, you know what? I need to make a trip. I need to go to London and watch me and go to
Might see you over there, bro.
I'm saying, bro, every year I try to go. But the last couple of years, it's been so dead that I'm like, I'm not motivated to go watch us get beat 5-0 by Arsenal, bro. No. But this season, bro, you give me the ticket to Liverpool next Saturday, next Sunday, bro. I'm there.
You're right now.
I'm there because I'm positive.
Yeah. You've been like it says in the bio, just a Positive, just a positive Chelsea
Just
fan.
a positive Chelsea fan. That's all, bro.
I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna wrap up. Robert, thanks for joining us. Oh, I keep saying us. Thanks for joining me on the Final Whistle podcast. We're probably gonna have to do another show at some point, maybe a live,
Yeah, man.
and
Yeah,
talk
man.
to
Just say the
Robert, see
word.
what's
Just
going
say
on.
the word. Just say the
Yeah,
word.
man. All right, guys, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know who next you want to see on the channel. I've been trying to get some of the bigger names, and it's in the works. But
Yeah, yeah,
thank you for
yeah.
joining us.
Yeah. Big up, man.
Peace.
Keep up the good work, man. Keep up
Thanks,
the
bro.
good
Thanks,
work.
bro. Peace.
All
And I
right,
will
all
see
right.
you, Robert, on Twitter and multiple other streams. So I'll see you,
I'm
bro.
there. I'm not hiding.
Come outside, people. Peace.